If you've ever, looked at a beautiful geological specimen sitting on a shelf, you probably just thought of it as a static object. I mean, you put it on a desk, the sunlight hits it, it looks pretty, and, well, that's kind of the whole story.
Right, yeah, that's how most of us see them.
But today, we want to invite you into the world of esoteric geology. We are looking at a physical structure that, according to our sources at least, operates as a literal active surge protector for the human soul.
It genuinely challenges the way we define an active energetic engine. We're really talking about a tool here that processes and redirects subtle energy.
Okay, let's unpack this. Welcome to today's deep dive. Our mission today is exploring a geological anomaly that's been revered for centuries. It's not just a decorative rock, it is a deeply functional piece of technology for human consciousness.
Yeah, technology is actually a great word for it.
We are focusing on the combination of green apophyllite on Stilbite. It is a pairing that claims to merge incredibly high-frequency spiritual energy with this profound, heavy emotional grounding. And we have a massive stack of sources today for you.
A really diverse stack, too.
Exactly. Ranging from hard geological data and ancient Vedic history to modern energetic practices, plus some heavy-hitting practical insights from a source called Crystals by Rob.
What's fascinating here is that we aren't just looking at a single mineral in isolation. This is a natural intergrowth of two entirely distinct species that act together as a single system.
Like an engine.
Exactly, like a single powerful engine. And to truly grasp the mechanics of how it's used today, we really have to look at how it was forged. Millions of years ago in the Deccan Traps of Maharashtra, India, subterranean steam and cooling magma created these massive basaltic gas cavities.
Wait, so it's literally born inside the cooling bubbles of ancient lava?
Yes, exactly.
That's such a dramatic origin story.
It really is, and it's a masterclass in natural chemistry. Within those cooling volcanic pockets, you have green apophyllite forming. It gets this luminous kind of emerald or mint green hue from trace inclusions of iron or nickel.
Oh,
right. And it grows in these sharp, glass-like prismatic pyramids.
Mm-hmm.
Geologically speaking, it sits at about a 4.5 to 5 on the Mohs hardness scale.
But it doesn't grow alone, right? I mean, it's physically embedded on top of this bed of Stilbite.
Yeah, that's the key.
And the sources describe Stilbite as totally different. It's softer, maybe 3.5 to 4 on the Mohs scale, and it forms these soft peach, salmon pink, or creamy white shapes that look almost like little bow ties or sheaves of wheat.
They look wildly different, but they actually share one crucial defining trait. Both of these minerals feature exceptionally high water content trapped deep inside their porous crystal lattices.
And according to esoteric traditions, that trapped water is the key to everything, because water is a natural superconductor for bioenergetic life force, or prana, right?
Precisely.
So you have these sharp green pyramids radiating this intense high-frequency, like laser light energy, but it's being cradled by the soft peach pink Stilbite, which acts as a cushion to stabilize that really intense frequency.
Which perfectly explains its historical lineage, too. I mean, in ancient Vedic temple traditions, healers observed this exact inner-grown structure and assigned profound meaning to it.
What did they use it for?
Well, they saw the sharp green pyramids as Amrita, which is divine nectar, resting directly on the compassionate embrace of Shakti, the Divine Mother. They used this specific combination as a central altarpiece for Divine communication.
Wow. And then fast forward a few centuries, during the 19th century, the height of the spiritualism movement in Europe and North America, mediums were obsessed with it.
Oh, absolutely obsessed.
They called it the mirror of the soul. I was reading that they were placing these raw clusters right in the center of their seance tables.
Yeah, the 19th century mediums believed the high water content and those light-refracting pyramids acted as an interdimensional conduit. The theory was that it allowed them to perceive non-physical entities and spirit guides with absolute clarity.
While keeping the bad stuff out, right?
Exactly. While actively repelling any lower astral, static, or negative interference.
I just keep picturing like an organic fiber optic cable. Or maybe like a naturally occurring interdimensional television screen.
A television screen, that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, like the green pyramids are the high-def receiver pulling in the cosmic signal, and the water matrix inside the Stilbite filters out all the static so the picture is perfectly clear.
That analogy of the static filter is incredibly vital here, especially when we transition from 19th century seances into modern human psychology. Because if this stone filters external static, it does the exact same thing to our internal emotional trauma.
Which brings us to the concept of emotional calcification that's mentioned in the texts. The idea is that when we experience sudden betrayal, deep grief, or chronic heartbreak, the human body doesn't always have the capacity to process it in real time.
We just can't handle it all at once.
Right, so we shove that grief down into our chest cavity, and over time, that unprocessed pain turns into a dense protective armor around the heart chakra.
And it becomes a psychological prison.
Right.
I mean, it numbs our capacity for joy just as much as it numbs us to pain. But this is where the specific bioenergetic mechanics of green apophyllite on Stilbite come into play. The green ray, which is energized by that trace iron, acts as a high vibrational solvent.
Wait, a solvent? How does a mineral dissolve an emotional wall?
Well, it operates on the principle of resonant frequency. The human biofield operates on microelectric currents. When a trauma is calcified, it is essentially stuck dense energy vibrating at a very low, sluggish frequency.
Okay, I'm with you.
So the green apophyllite emits a highly concentrated, rapid frequency. When placed near the chest, it acts like an energetic tuning fork. That dense, sluggish trauma just cannot maintain its structure in the presence of that rapid vibration.
Oh, wow.
So it literally vibrates apart, dissolving the hard edges of suppressed grief.
Okay, but let me push back on that for a second. If this high-frequency tuning fork is vibrating apart my emotional armor, doesn't that leave me completely vulnerable? I mean, I built that armor for a reason. If it's suddenly dissolved, I'm just raw and exposed to everyone else's chaos.
That is the brilliant paradox of this specific mineral pairing. If you only used green apophyllite, yes, you might feel too open. But the Stilbite provides an immediate structural correction.
Oh, so?
As the apophyllite dissolves the dense wall of trauma, the Stilbite replaces it with a highly advanced, semi-permeable force field. It eradicates codependency by establishing loving but absolutely firm energetic boundaries around the heart.
So it's basically teaching you that true compassion doesn't require self-sacrifice. Like, you can hold space for someone else's pain without actually absorbing it yourself. You maintain absolute sovereignty over your own energy.
Precisely. And we can see this mechanically in how it interacts with the brain's fear center. For someone locked in hypervigilance, their amygdala is constantly treating a daily stressor like, say, a late email as a life or death emergency.
Oh, I know that feeling all too well.
Right. The steady, maternal frequency of the Stilbite acts as the direct coolant for the amygdala. It interrupts that jagged frequency of panic and provides a dominant, steady rhythm of absolute safety that the brain naturally seeks to mimic. It neutralizes the panic loop.
And it goes after the root of so many of those panic loops, too, the illusion of unworthiness, the subconscious belief that you are fundamentally flawed. The texts suggest the clear green pyramids act as a pristine mirror, reflecting your original soul purity back to you, while the Stilbite wraps the entire realization in radical self-forgiveness.
It is a complete architectural rebuild of the heart field.
Okay, but if we are rebuilding this boundary into a semi-permeable force field, it really makes me wonder what happens to all the energetic garbage we've already absorbed before we built this new shield. I mean, is it just trapped inside with us?
The sources refer to that trapped garbage as etheric sludge.
Gross, but accurate.
Very accurate. In our subtle anatomy, life force energy circulates through meridians, much like blood flows through veins. But chronic mental stress, absorbing other people's anger and environmental toxicity, they congest these subtle pathways with dense, sticky material. It causes profound physical exhaustion and emotional numbness.
And the texts describe the high water content and electrical conductivity of the green apophyllite, acting like a high vibrational power washer. It sweeps through the liver, gallbladder, and heart meridians, flushing that built-up sludge completely out of the system.
Beyond just flushing the system, it actively repairs the container. Many empaths have what the esoteric sources call micro-tears in the pericardium boundary.
The outer shield of the heart field, right.
Right. They walk into a crowded grocery store and instantly absorb the ambient anxiety of everyone in the room like a sponge. The Stilbite acts like a spiritual resin, coating the outer perimeter of the biofield and filling in those microfractures, while the apophyllite fortifies it with a dense mesh of light.
So it's keeping your vital energy in your own chest. But it's not just emotional noise we are exposed to every day. Since we're talking about chaos, we are swimming in a literal ocean of technological pollution. 5G, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth. These are artificial jagged electromagnetic frequencies, or EMFs, colliding with our biofield, causing brain fog and fatigue.
The complex silicate aluminum matrix and the high water content of this stone actually absorb, refract, and smooth out those jagged artificial waveforms before they can even penetrate your field.
Hang on, a silicon aluminum matrix, isn't that basically the same raw material we use to build computer microchips and technological resistors?
That is the exact mechanism at play. It is a natural resistor. Because its internal geometry is so highly ordered, when chaotic artificial EMF waveforms hit it, the crystal lattice forces those waves to organize and smooth out, effectively neutralizing their chaotic impact on your nervous system.
It really is a literal surge protector. That perfectly aligns with the notes from Crystals by Rob. He calls this specific pairing the executive stone.
I love that term.
Yeah, he says it changes the literal weight of a room. It silences mental chatter and replaces it with an iron-willed focus for strategic peace. It doesn't matter if you are navigating a deeply toxic corporate meeting or just sitting next to a really loud Wi-Fi router.
Rob's insights are so practical here. He notes that if a standard piece of clear quartz is a gentle whisper from the heavens, green apophyllite on Stilbite is a firm handshake from Mother Earth.
A firm handshake from Mother Earth. I love that. So, since we've secured our immediate environment and established this ironclad boundary, how does this firm handshake apply to the deeper spiritual architecture of the body? Like, what happens when we take this foundational safety and start doing the esoteric heavy lifting?
The anchor for that heavy lifting is located at the high heart, or the thymus chakra. This is an energy center located just between the traditional heart and the throat. The esoteric texts refer to this as the emerald throne of the soul.
Sounds intense.
It is. It is the energetic gateway where your divine blueprint attempts to express itself physically in the world.
Crystals by Rob has a fascinating diagnosis for this area. He says this stone cures a condition he calls being either top-heavy or bottom-heavy.
Right, the balancing act.
Yeah, if you are top-heavy, you are spiritually wide open, maybe very psychic, but completely ungrounded, floating away in your own anxiety and unable to pay your bills. But if you are bottom-heavy, you are entirely stuck in the daily grind, consumed by physical exhaustion and material stress.
And the green apophyllite on Stilbite acts as the great connector. It forces your crown chakra, which processes your vast cosmic data, and your sacral chakra, which runs your earthly emotional hard drive, to communicate directly through the high heart.
Wow, just tying it all together.
Exactly. By bridging these two extremes, it pulls celestial light down into the physical body and pushes earthly wisdom up into your spiritual awareness.
This communication seems absolutely crucial for practices like astral travel or attempting to access the Akashic records. The texts say it provides a heavy silver cord.
The mechanism of that silver cord is vital for safe esoteric exploration. The vibrational density of this Stilbite anchors your subtle body's resonance firmly to the physical plane.
So you don't just float away.
Right. So when your consciousness expands outward via the high-frequency apophyllite to access cosmic records, there is a traceable, unbroken frequency back to your physical form. You can fly as high as you want into the cosmos without the danger of getting lost in the ether.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this profound grounding is exactly why the sources say it banishes spiritual arrogance.
The advanced guru ego. When individuals access high vibrational insights, the human ego frequently co-opts that knowledge to feel superior to everyone still struggling in the messy material world.
We've all met someone like that.
Definitely. But the joyful, innocent energy of these green pyramids bypasses the intellectual ego entirely. It strips away that pretentious armor. It returns the user to a state of childlike wonder and holy humility, reminding them that true spiritual mastery is solely measured by your capacity to love and serve others with simple human warmth.
I love the idea of returning to childlike wonder, but let me challenge this for a second. What happens when you are in the absolute depths of despair? The texts mention utilizing the stone during the dark night of the soul. How exactly does a pretty green rock act as a strong, silent mentor in that scenario? How does it force you to do the grueling emotional work instead of just offering a fuzzy, feel-good placebo effect?
It comes back to the concept of generational trauma clearing. This pairing is not about offering a temporary dopamine hit to make you feel better for an hour. Because of its ancient, intergrown volcanic nature, it acts as a resonant clearing beam.
A clearing beam?
Yeah. Emotional responses are stored in cellular memory as specific frequencies. The stone traces your automatic destructive emotional reactions backward through time, finding harmonic resonance with their ancestral origin points.
Wait, really? It's literally showing you that your chronic anxiety or your fear of scarcity didn't even start with you. It was passed down through your lineage.
And Rob points out that when you are navigating the dark night of the soul, you don't need a stone that pats you on the back and says, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
You need the iron-willed resilience of the Stilbite.
Right.
It acts as a strong, silent mentor that provides the sheer emotional stamina to look at your family's accumulated generational grief and finally say, the pattern stops with me. It gives you the energetic fortitude to discharge that inherited sorrow from your nervous system once and for all.
The pattern stops with me. Having the stamina to hold that boundary is incredibly powerful, and knowing we have that level of energetic support transitions us perfectly into the highly practical applications. How do we put this iron-willed resilience into practice in our daily lives? The sources provide specific, actionable rituals to try at home, starting with where we spend most of our time, the workspace.
The texts detailed the High Heart Prosperity Grid. This protocol is explicitly designed to neutralize corporate stress and attract authentic, aligned opportunities. You take a cluster of green apophyllite on Stilbite and place it in the wealth sector of your desk, which is typically the center or the far left corner.
But you don't just leave it there. You surround it with 4 outward-pointing clear quartz crystals. The quartz acts as an amplifier, creating this radiating sun effect that broadcasts the apophyllite's frequency outward, setting an active, commanding vibration for your entire professional life. But what happens when you have to step away from the desk? Say you have to walk into a really high-stakes, uncomfortable conversation.
For that, you utilize the pocket protocol. The instruction is to hold a small specimen of the stone in your non-dominant receptive hand for 30 minutes prior to the interaction.
Holding it in the non-dominant hand is key, right? Because that's the side of the body that receives energy. It saturates your nervous system with that calming frequency before you even open your mouth.
Exactly. And during the actual conversation, you keep the stone in your pocket. It acts as a real-time filter. It absorbs your automatic defensive triggers, allowing your voice to remain anchored in compassion and clarity rather than reacting out of fear.
And after you've navigated the chaotic day, there is the nighttime sanctuary ritual. If you suffer from insomnia, or if you wake up exhausted because you've been grinding your teeth through stress dreams, you lie flat on your back, place the cluster directly on your high heart, and visualize a soft emerald green and peach pink light penetrating deep into your chest cavity.
As you visualize that light, the protocol involves reciting the core rest affirmation, I am safe in my body. I release the burdens of the day. My heart is at peace.
That sounds incredibly soothing.
It is. The combination of the heavy mineral on the vagus nerve and the resonant frequency systematically deactivates those fight-or-flight loops. It physically shifts your brainwave state down into parasympathetic recovery.
Now, there is another protocol mentioned in the text, but we need to pause here because it comes with a massive, crucial safety warning. The protocol is for an indirect gem essence. Because apophyllite and stilbite are zeolite minerals, their complex matrix contains aluminum and trace fluorine. The stone must never, under any circumstances, touch your drinking water directly.
This highlights the importance of chemical awareness in esoteric practices. If you place this specimen directly in water, the matrix will chemically leach and degrade, releasing heavy metals and making the water physically toxic to consume.
So to create this elixir safely, you have to use the indirect method. You place the crystal inside a dry, tightly sealed glass vial. Then you place that sealed vial inside a larger bowl or pitcher of spring water. You let it charge in sunlight or moonlight for 4 to 6 hours.
The bioenergetic mechanism here is that the vibrational frequency passes easily through the glass barrier, restructuring the water molecules in the pitcher without any chemical contamination whatsoever. Taking a few drops of that indirectly charged essence acts as a powerful bio-booster for your internal meridians.
And it turns out this bio-boosting frequency isn't just for humans. The sources highlight that this stone has a profound affinity for the Divic realm, the consciousness of the natural world, which leads to the Divic Earth Grid protocol for your garden.
You take 4 specimens and place them at the 4 cardinal corners of your garden plot. You do have to ensure they are covered with small glass awnings, though, so the rain doesn't dissolve them over time.
It is essentially setting up a high vibrational Wi-Fi network for your houseplants, your vegetable garden, and the local nature spirits. The frequency stimulates cellular vitality in the vegetation, bringing that same pristine resonance to the earth itself.
When we synthesize all of this data from the geological formation to the complex rituals, green apophyllite on Stilbite is ultimately a masterclass in integration. It takes the absolute highest frequency of cosmic spiritual awareness and grounds it into deeply practical physical empathy.
Right.
It ensures that a spiritual awakening doesn't cause an individual to float away into the ether, but rather equips them to walk the earth as a radiant, heavily shielded, and deeply functional human being.
So what does this all mean for you? Why should you care about the metaphysical properties of a volcanic rock from India? Because we are living in a world that is constantly, aggressively pulling us toward extremes. Every day, we are either being dragged down into digital burnout and empathic exhaustion from the news cycle, or we are trying to escape the pain through ungrounded spiritual bypassing. This mineral combination offers an iron-willed foundation to stand firmly in both worlds.
It provides the precise architecture necessary to maintain your deep sensitivity without ever becoming a victim to it.
And I want to leave you with one final mind-bending concept to mull over. Throughout this deep dive, we've explored how the high water content trapped inside this ancient volcanic rock acts as a superconductor, filtering artificial EMFs, cooling the amygdala, and completely resetting the human nervous system. Well, consider this, the human body is up to 60% water.
Oh, that's an interesting angle.
Right. If ancient water, locked inside a crystal lattice millions of years ago, can hold such precise transformational frequencies, what does that say about the water flowing inside our own bodies? Since we're mostly water, are we too just walking crystalline structures holding on to decades of old static, just waiting for the right frequency to finally tune us?
That is a profound question to sit with the next time you reflect on your own energy.
Something to think about the next time you pour yourself a glass of water. Keep asking questions, and until next time, keep diving deep.